Hey there, YouTube! Welcome back to Let's Play Higurashi, Chapter 2. In the last part, we did a lot. We went to a dessert fest, we realized how we had hurt Mion, we realized we had hurt Mion, we realized that Shion and Mion are two different people. Super exciting, lots had happened, and we are now going to just jump right in and check out the fallout. I forgot to save at the end of the last video. Bite me. Sue me. I don't care. We're going in. The next day. It was a strange day where Mion was desperate to regain her composure. Every time our eyes met, she would say that she had something to do, or that she had to use the washroom and run off. Unable to just watch, Rina was taking care of her the entire time. Mion-san, she's acting totally strange today. I know the whole story, but it's hard to explain. There are times when girls are emotionally unstable. It's best to just leave her alone. Turning around, I saw Rina calling me from the hallway. I wondered what it was. Keiichi-kun, over here, over here. What is it, calling me over like this? Is it a secret? That is, it looks like it was a disaster. Yeah. Mi-chan seemed pretty broken, but I somehow got her working again. I'm surprised you managed it. How did you exactly? Same way I do with the television. Just come at it from a 45-degree angle and hi-ya! Saying that, she made a chopping motion. You know, I can't tell if you're joking or not, right? She'll be fine by tomorrow. Also, there's something I want you to do, Keiichi-kun. I didn't mean to do anything wrong, but I still feel guilty. I'm listening. Thanks. You see, Mi-chan is just going to pretend the last few days never happened. Never happened, huh? I see. Well, that's one way to run from it. So you see, Keiichi-kun, could you pretend too? Then Mi-chan can go back to normal. Just doing something as simple as that. Is it really going to be okay? Please, until Mi-chan gets her feelings in order, just go with it. Okay, I got it. Even though I shouldn't have been at fault, for some reason I felt guilty. The one at fault here was the one who knew about the entire situation and pretended to be Mion for an entire day. Shion. But she never once said that she was Mion. What am I supposed to be angry at? Seeing me stomping the ground impatiently, Rina giggled. But Keiichi-kun, you knew as well that Mi-chan has some cute things about her. Rina talked in a calm voice as her hair rustled in the wind. Yeah, I know that she'll never let it be boring. Good. Following this curt reply, Rina looked up at the sky and stretched. As long as you realize that, Keiichi-kun, these past few days will soon be nothing more than a story to laugh about. Copying Rina, I also began to stretch as I looked at the sky. The clear sky towered into the distance. There's no club activities or anything today. I'm sorry, Keiichi-kun, but just for today, can you go home by yourself? It'll all be back to normal by tomorrow, so just for today, okay? If all it took for everything to go back to normal was to leave Mion alone for today, then it was an easy decision to make. Got it. I can't say it directly to Mion, so I'll say it to you. I still feel kind of guilty about it, so I want to apologize. No. The root of the problem was Keiichi-kun saying something insensitive, right? So if you learned anything from this, you need to look a bit into gaining a sense of delicacy. Right. I'll try. That day was the shortest day of my life. Rina was talking to Mion while accompanying her around the entire time. It looked like a really fun conversation, so I reflexively thought about joining in, but I had made a promise not to. It seemed that Mion was also trying her best to ignore me. So likewise, I did my best to ignore her. For the first time in a while, I ate lunch alone. Mion and Rina ate theirs by themselves. As I let out a sigh in my ashen mood, Rika-chan came over and patted me on the head. Both Keiichi and me learned a whole lot. I'd never say it like that. It made it sound like we were having romantic problems. I didn't like that one bit. Hopefully the teacher wouldn't notice and call us to the staff room after school or something. I'm sure that Keiichi will grow up to be a wonderful adult. Pat, pat. Rika-chan is the studious type, so maybe you'll grow up to be an amazingly wonderful adult. Of course. When I grow up, I'll be super amazing. My, when I grow up, I'll be an amazing lady, you know? No matter how old you get, you'll still be a brat. You can put money on it. What did you say? As Satoko snapped her fingers, a wash basin fell from above, hitting me squarely in the head. Ow! What do you think you're doing, Satoko? Pinch, squeeze. It was a day I could thoroughly appreciate the value of having friends. Aw. That was really cute. I wish I had little 8-year-old friends. Instead, I'm an adult now with no friends. It's the worst. Gotta fill the void with cute anime girls. That became a little too real and a little too sad. We're gonna drop that bit. Today was Saturday, so school ended in the blink of an eye. It really felt good to go home with the sun so high in the sky. On any other day, our club would have been up to mischief during our ample school time, but today, Rika-chan had a rehearsal for tomorrow's Watanagashi to go to. How's that going, Rika-chan? Do you have it down in practice? I'll try harder than last year. You were so exhausted and sweaty after last year's ceremony. She'll look far more fit for the role this year. Please look forward to the fruits of her training. The Watanagashi festival everyone had been talking about was tomorrow, wasn't it? The festival being in June felt a little early to me, but the onset of summer came quickly this year, so it fit the image of a summer festival pretty well. Okay, we'll be off then. Look forward to tomorrow. Good day to you all. Satoko and Rika-chan waved to us energetically, then left. You know, I never asked. Where is the festival happening anyway? I don't remember there being anywhere around here that seems suited for hosting one. They do it at the Furude Shrine. We went there for a walk one day, remember? It was that place with the really good view. Oh, right, I remember. There was a shrine all the way up on that hill, wasn't there? It seemed far too grand for Hinamizawa. There's a great meeting hall in the shrine, too. The older people get together there and sing karaoke or practice calligraphy from time to time. It's more like a recreational facility than a simple shrine. I see. I guess it makes sense that it looks so grand then. Mi-chan, is your family going to help set up today? Yep, we have male hands for that. Most of our relatives come from town to help. Male hands, huh? Well, I mean, I have nothing to do at home today, so... Would it be a problem if I squirmed my way in there to help out too? Huh? You want to help us, Ki-chan? Not if it'll bother you all. I was just kind of interested. We had bond dances and other festivals in the town I used to live in, but I didn't even know where they took place, much less wanted to help. You could say that I had absolutely no connection to the region. Having come to Hinamizawa, though, it really made me feel like this place was a home that I had returned to. Before I knew it, I harbored a little interest in the small community activity of preparing for a festival the day before. I wonder if you'll be able to, Keiichi-kun. There's a lot of building tents and setting up chairs. I hear it's pretty hard physical labor. I mean, I wouldn't be doing it alone, right? The more hands we have, the faster it'll go. Mion looked happy to hear that, but at the same time, her expression was complex, tinged with hesitation. Rina gave her the last push for me. It's decided then. You should go for it, Keiichi-kun. He's all yours, Mi-chan. Put him through the ringer. Well, I can't argue with a recommendation from Rina. Okay then, go home first, put on some work clothes, and come to the shrine. Oh, and you might want to bring a towel to wipe your sweat, too. Got it. I may look scrawny, but I actually quite like breaking a sweat under the hot sun. Careful you don't hurt your back, okay? Right, enough of my old man spiel. I'll go to the shrine too, as soon as I've changed. Mi-chan, you do your best too. Bye-bye. Mion waved vigorously to us and left. As far as I could tell from her gallant retreating figure, she seemed to have recovered from the weak state she had yesterday. Girls are quick to get over things. Mi-chan is already fine. Right. Her switching back to normal so cleanly makes it easy for me to talk to her. It was kind of funny though, wasn't it? Kind of like Cinderella. Like you can't meet her anymore once the magic wears off. Rina began to giggle a fair bit in amusement. Did she like this sort of thing? Incidentally, me going with it gave me a weird, hard to describe feeling. Did I turn myself into a plaything? Or did they do it for me? If you think it's so funny, then you should try pretending to be a different Rina, too. Yeah, that sounds like fun. Keiichi-kun, what kind of Rina would you want to meet? One with a bust size of at least 80. Huge knockers that you're okay with me touching. I can't do that. She'd be great at cooking and make me lunch and come to see me in the mornings. I do that already. I pull Rina's head into a tight grip, then start to pet it. You're Rina Ryugu, right? Rina, not Reina. So you just stay as Rina forever, got it? Thanks. Have fun helping set up the festival. You got it. Let's meet up tomorrow. I got changed right away, and slinging a towel around my neck like Mion suggested, I set off for the shrine. At the shrine, there were more people than you'd imagine even live in Hinamizawa there, all cordoning off areas and setting up tent frameworks, chatting amongst themselves as they did so. Alright, where's Mion? The liveliness of the throng didn't make it easy to look for her. I searched around as if I already worked there, and suddenly the principal called out to me. If it isn't Maibara-kun! Interesting. Have you come to help with the Watanagashi setup? Hello. Yes, I was just wondering if there was anything I could help with. How commendable your attitude is. Feel free to sweat to your heart's content. Spurred on by the principal, I came upon a group of people setting up tents. Oh, what's this? It's Maibara-chan. Did you come all this way to help us? I hadn't found Mion yet, but I supposed I'd just get in her way if I ran into her. Yeah, I'm here to help. Just tell me where you need me. You young ones have all the vitality. Here, grab some work gloves. Ever built a tent before? No, never. Delighting in teaching a new skill to someone younger, plenty of people happily taught me all sorts of things. Okay, kid, go inside the tent and tie up just the cords for the top. After that, we'll stand it up and tie the rest of them. Butterfly knots are okay, right? There and there. All done? We're standing it up. 1, 2, 3. What was once nothing more than a collapsed tent was raised on 4 splendid legs before my eyes in mere moments. Whoa. Seeing it put together like this is actually pretty moving. Come on, no time to stare and wonder. We've got a lot more to do. We packed the tents into the truck, so go get them from there. They're heavy, so take someone with you. Nah, I'm good. I may look scrawny, but I'm actually pretty strong. Whoa? They look light enough, so I thought they were. But they're heavy. That's why I told you to have someone help. Come on. said the man, lifting it up with a grunt and taking it away under his arm. Either I'm weak, or these old guys all have superhuman strength. Let's go. You're the youngest one here, so we're going to make you sweat for it. Do your best. Beer after work is the best. I'm a minor. Sweat dripped from my body. I had been fully and completely absorbed in helping them. I would never have thought the cold barley tea from the Women's Society could taste this delicious. You're so young. Make sure you drink a lot. Thank you. It was then that I realized a crowd had formed near the shrine a ways off. When I took a closer look, I saw a girl dressed in shrine maiden garb and a handful of men looking like they were preparing for the ceremony together. Is that Rika-chan? Hey, Rika-chan! Do your best! I shouted, and it seemed like she heard me. Rika-chan, positively exploding with vitality, answered with a smile. The older guys with me watched Rika-chan as well, with distant gazes. Rika-chama is doing a great job. She seems far more used to this than she did last year. The old lady who gave me the tea clasped what looked like prayer beads in her hands and said, Rika-sama, we thank you, we thank you. And just like that, began to respectfully pray to her. Huh? I just remembered that they called it the Furude Shrine. Wasn't Rika-chan's full name Rika Furude? The man standing next to me answered my question. That's right. Rika-chama's Furude clan is ancient and honorable, and has worshipped Oyashiro-sama for generations. Huh. I'd always gotten the feeling she wasn't quite your average person, but it turned out she was from an esteemed family. After her father, who was the shrine priest, died the year before last, she's really been doing her best to learn the rituals. I wish the priest would have been here to see how wonderfully she's grown up. What? Rika-chan's father passed away? Okay, break time is over. Let's get the chairs we're not using back to the gym in Okinomiya. Maki-san, pull the truck around and take a few people with you. Alright, Maebara-kun, let's get to work on one last job. Yeah, you're gonna make me do more work? I can't tell if they know I'm a minor or not, but the older men all cheer me on, encouraging me to do my best and that the beer will be great. Nah, you let the kid have a beer after working a hard day's work. Ki-chan, working hard, I see. I passed by Mion. She was carrying a big cardboard box. It looked like she was right in the middle of working as well. Judging by the sweat seeping into her shirt, it seemed I wasn't the only one with his hands full. Yeah, I'm working my ass off. You work hard too. The beer is gonna be great. We were worked to the bone until the sun began to set, and it started cooling off. Oh. It is sunset now. It was soon full-fledged night, and the clear sound of the Higurashi eased the moderate pain I felt. The older guys began their night before drinking party in a tent a fair bit off, causing quite a ruckus. The shrine grounds, on the other hand, had turned into a lonely road, tickled by the cool evening breeze, despite being so festive just a little while ago. The wind felt good. I leaned on one of the stone guardian dogs at the top of the shrine. I gave my legs a good stretch as I let my mind wander, and suddenly, a paper cup filled with barley tea was thrust before me. Ki-chan, great work. Here's some tea for you. You're so considerate. Thanks, me. Her voice sounded exactly the same, but it felt somehow different. Wait, you're... Heya, it's Shion. Don't go giving Mion all the credit. She isn't considerate at all. Don't get us confused, okay? Shion, you little... Go, thank you. Now that I've caught you, you're not getting away. I think my mouse is starting to die. It doesn't like being clicked. It was your mistake, Ki-chan. I've never said I was anyone other than Shion. I guess I can't argue with that. That's right. You're no match for my older sister, so I can't let you be a match for me either. Anyway, your tea. It's going to get warm. Come on, please cheer up. I'm trying to make it up to you with this tea. Well, she did come all the way here to give it to me. I guess I'll accept it. I took the cup and downed it in one gulp. And then suddenly... Ah! I heard a loud shout and it got stuck in my throat. Which one is it this time? Is it the real Mion? Shion? Why are you hanging out with Ki-chan again? Because unlike you, I'm very considerate. Ki-chan was so sweaty, I couldn't leave him alone, so I brought him some tea. By the way, why are you holding 2 cups of tea? Mion's face went bright red, and she tried to hide the paper cups behind her back. Well, this is... There's no way you, such a rough, timid, good sister of mine, would ever briskly bring a male classmate tea, is there? So what are they? What are those 2 cups of tea? These are, well, right. I was just so thirsty, I figured I'd drink 2. That's so like you. Come on, chug, chug. As Shion cheered at her, Mion downed both the cups of tea, one after the other. What a fabulous drink that was. I expected nothing less from you. Ki-chan, you give her a hand too. Wait, suddenly the situation has gotten unbelievable. Mion doesn't usually get manipulated so easily like that. I've known for a while now, but Shion is terrifying. Mion, you can't hold your own against Shion? I hate her, and lately I hate her even more. Just then, I heard the snap of a camera shutter. Good evening. The festival is coming up tomorrow. Thanks for all your hard work setting it up today. Good evening. Oh, Shion-chan, it's quite unusual for you to come here. Oh, hey, it's Tomitaki and Takano-san. Good evening. It's been a while, hasn't it? So you're that transfer student I've been hearing about. Keiichi Maebara-kun, right? You really did a bang-up job today. I'm impressed. I feel like I've seen this photographer guy before. Have we met before? I'm glad you remembered. We've passed many times on the road, Keiichi-kun. I'm Tomitaki. I'm a freelancing photographer from Tokyo. Good evening. Do you recognize me? I'm sorry, but I don't. She's Mio Takano-san. Do you remember when we were at the doctor's office when you still had a cold, Ki-chan? Mio-san is one of the nurses who works there. Call me Takano. I'm pleased to meet you. Tell me when you're coming in for treatment. I'll prepare a huge needle for you. That's very thoughtful of you. Tomitaki-san seemed to be quite entertained at the Sonozaki twins being in the same place, and he took picture after picture. Wow, I'd heard you two were identical twins, but it really is quite something to see you side by side. You really do look exactly alike. We're not just alike on the outside. See? Our underwear matches too. God, you idiot, what the heck are you doing? Things have never been as lively as when the two of them are together. I thought they were exactly the same at first, but I've started to get a handle on which one is which. Mion is Mion, and Shion, well, she seems a far better actor than Mion was. In the first place, somebody that could spurn Mion so easily wouldn't have shown such weakness to those lard buckets at Angel Mort. If that was the case, then that cowardly behavior from that day was... it was all a complete act! They were even more alike when they were little. I heard even their parents had a hard time telling which was which. That's really easy to imagine. I totally understand what they must have gone through. Takano gave me kind of an odd look, but explaining would have been a pain, so I didn't bother. Tomitaki, are you going straight back to Tokyo after you get your pictures of the festival?
Yep, though I would rather just stay here forever. Silly adult things, that's all.
I hope your photos win a fabulous prize soon. I've been praying for it.
Thanks. Next time I come, I'll bring the pictures I took of you all today.
Maibara-kun, you did a lot of work today. You must be tired from all the physical labor you're not used to. Huh? Well, I'm tired, but it was still pretty fun. Ah, youth. I'm so jealous.
Takano-san smiled with an adult elegance that no one in my circle of friends possessed. The wind caught her hair. She gives off an intelligent beauty. Oh, why, hello everyone. It seemed like our merry crowd was standing out. This time, an overweight older man addressed us. And again, it was someone I thought I knew. If I recall correctly, he's a policeman, isn't he?
Oh, Uishi-san. Good evening. Doing a preliminary security inspection for tomorrow?
Something like that. Oh, if it isn't Tomitaki-kun. It's certainly been a while. I'm honored you remembered my name. You really do love Hinamizawa, don't you? The apartments around here are far cheaper than the ones in Tokyo. You should just move here and get it over with. I know a realtor I can introduce you to. I appreciate the thought. I'd very much like to follow up on that. All right, everyone, have a good year. And Happy New Year to the Sonozaki twins, too.
Happy New Year, Detective Uishi. We appreciate your work. We'd like to end this year's festival with the least amount of inconveniences possible.
That's pretty strict on me. Detective Uishi left us with a low laugh and headed off to talk to some police officers standing a ways away. I gave Mion a glance and saw her making an annoyed face as if she were glaring bullets at someone she hated.
Yeah, it'd be nice if the police didn't have anything to do during Watanagashi this year.
You like this place too, don't you?
Oh, you mean to say you dislike it, Jiro-san? I quite enjoy such fantastic stories, you know. Especially with the times being so dry and uninteresting.
The curse of Oyashiro-sama, you mean?
Curse. Tomitake-san used a troubling word. Then, suddenly, someone tugged on my arm. Ki-chan, I'm pretty hungry. Want to go to the tent with the drinks and have some candy and sweets? I'm up for that. I've gotten a little hungry as well. Okay, let's go.
A moment later, Shion said something to Takano and Tomitaki that stung my ears and gave me a start.
I wonder who will die and will disappear this year.
I pulled back from Mion's grip and stopped abruptly. Shion, what did she just say? It felt like the air around us dried out all of a sudden.
Let's go, Ki-chan. They were talking about something silly anyway. You still haven't told Ki-chan? I make it a point not to spread stories like that.
Shion's cold and quiet tone and Mion's harsh voice were quite the contrast. Hey, wait, hold on. What are you talking about? If you know something, then tell me. It doesn't feel right being the only one left out, you know? I don't understand this. Someone explain it to me. However, Mion didn't seem to be at all willing to grant my request. Yeah. I don't know why I had so much trouble.
One sec. Come on. You're going on my phone. Oh, God. I just want the water.
Just don't want my throat to be dry. She squeezed my hand in hers a bit, but when she realized I would hold my ground on this topic, she let go.
I'm going to go to the drinking tent first then. If you don't come soon, Ki-chan, there won't be any left for you.
Ah, I get it already. I'll be there soon. Mion left, trotting towards a particularly noisy tent on the other side of the shrine grounds. Before she got there, she stopped and turned back around. I showed no signs of going after her, though, so she ran off. I could tell you if you haven't heard, I suppose, but it might be smarter not to go and ask, and go with her to eat dessert. Hey now, you've already gotten my full attention here. I'm not going to leave without asking at this point.
I think Ki-chan has the right to hear this too. My sister was just stealing that from you.
Shion's voice was bristling with thorns, as if somehow blaming Mion. What on earth are you talking about? I don't really like people acting so self-important. Takano-san, realizing how prepared I was, looked across the group. After confirming that there were no objections, she opened her mouth.
Do you believe in curses, Maibara-kun?
Curses?
I think they're interesting, but I don't really...
I felt their cynical stares and winced. It was like they were telling me it was stranger not to believe in curses.
You're not wrong, Ki-chan. Curses are just superstition. It's only natural that you wouldn't believe in them. Besides, you can take all the time you need to decide whether to believe in curses after you've heard us through, said Takano-san, giving a little smile. They're trying to scare me. At least, that's what it feels like.
Alright, I'll start. Keiichi-kun, do you know about the Hinamizawa Dam project?
Oh, yeah. The other day at Angel Mort, Mion, told me all about it. You mean the plan for the giant dam that would flood all of Hinamizawa, right?
That's right. Residents of the town banded together to fight it, and a fierce battle with the government unfolded.
I've heard that too. The entire village united, using all the power at their disposal, mass media, political influence, and other things, and fought for the country. The way Mion described it made it sound like a boast.
Oh, you know quite a bit about it. Yes, you're right. It's practically an epic tale, how just 1,000 or so villagers banded together and rejected the government's plans.
Did you hear this from my sister? She likes those kinds of epics, you know.
Yeah, she told me. There was, however, an office for the Hinamizawa residents' opposition faction. It was this shrine.
You know the assembly hall? That's where it used to be. Now that the whole thing is over, the senior citizens just use it for group activities. At the time, though, it was their last bastion. Why am I hiccuping so much? Wow. I don't like it.
Takano-san explained this, pointing a finger towards the assembly hall. I had been carrying things in and out of there all day. I mean, I would understand if they put an office like that in the mayor's house or something. But having an office on shrine grounds made it feel kind of like a base camp for Sengoku period warriors. That was basically the mindset, though. Placing the main force in the shrine dedicated to Oyashiro-sama, Hinamizawa's guardian deity, was like a prayer for victory.
Oyashiro-sama. That was definitely it. They mentioned Oyashiro-sama's curse before. Is it the same Oyashiro-sama?
Do you know about Oyashiro-sama, Keiichi-kun? It's the name of the god worshipped at this shrine. It's said that he protects all of Hinamizawa.
Well, I didn't really know much about him.
I see. I think Takano-san knows more about the rest. Tag, you're it.
Well, this is generally the whole story. Oyashiro-sama is the ancient god passed down in Hinamizawa, and the villagers say he has been protecting this sanctuary from the poisons of the outside world. So essentially, he's a basic standard guardian deity. I guess you can find that sort of god anywhere you go. There's research into whether worshipping Oyashiro-sama is a manifestation of a kind of elitism too. What I mean is that the worshippers might think of themselves as chosen people. Believing yourself chosen, a nationalistic belief that you are part of a superior race, or that you're a special clan chosen by the gods. They believe that they're a superior clan, so they believe strongly in cooperating with others, but they also end up being exclusionary towards other clans. I won't go into too much detail, but it's the sort of national and religious ideas that lead to war. Of course, that goes for Japan too. A long time ago, the people of Hinamizawa strongly believed themselves different from humans, that they were above them. They believed that interaction with the lower world would sully their souls, so everyone believed that if one of the lower world came to the village, they would be sullied and suffer the wrath of Oyashiro-sama. Apparently, that kept everyone away.
Villages that hate outsiders come up all the time in mystery novels. That was once a classic example of a xenophobic village.
Well, they'll deny it to preserve their pride. It was all a long time ago, after all. Things are different now.
Shion followed up quickly, having sensed the thorns in Tomitake-san's words. Tomitake-san, embarrassed at what he said, scratched at his head. So this shrine worships Oyashiro-sama, thinks of Hinamizawa as holy ground, and it's a symbol of their traditional hatred of the outside world. I get it. So that's why they chose the shrine of Hinamizawa's guardian spirits as their base of operations, to resist the solely dam construction project that came from the outside.
Correct, smiled Takano, pleased.
She must dislike stupid people.
She just doesn't like them. Someone stupid, she just doesn't want to spare the time, doesn't want to spare the attention.
Superstition, every last bit of it. The villagers gave everything despite desperate to oppose the dam construction, and right in the midst of it, the incident drove home the finishing blow.
Oyashiro-sama's curse. The person managing the construction site of the Hinamizawa Dam was murdered 4 years ago, I believe. It took the newspapers by storm. Do you remember it?
No, not really.
He had a fight with a subordinate and was beaten to death with a pickaxe. His limbs and head were torn off and the remains disposed of.
The construction manager was murdered and dismembered.
Such a gruesome incident. But it was just that, an incident. A person caused the incident after all. Should they really put it down to the curse? Then, the following year, the man who had organized Hinamizawa's group of dam proponents, he fell from a cliff while on vacation and died. Apparently, it was an accident.
Of course, most of Hinamizawa was hostile towards him. The police were all over the case as if it were a homicide, but in the end, it was judged to have been an accident.
Now it's an accident. This is the most curse-like one, but it's still far-fetched. And then on the next year, this time the priest of this shrine contracted an unknown illness and suddenly died. This may sound a little rude, but the old priest was kind of a wait-and-see type. The whole village was in an uproar about the dam, but he just kind of didn't seem to want to bother. The shrine was the symbol of the opposition movement, and its priest, well, his attitude worked against him. The villagers at the time had hoped for a leader, but their hopes were betrayed. Some people were apparently pretty angry, too. So at the time, all the people were like, "This is Oyashiro-sama's curse." That's what they said. It did seem like every year, dam-related people the village had resentment towards were dying. It was pretty creepy.
Oh, and also, it's interesting all of these incidents and accidents always happen on the night of the Watanagashi festival.
What? See? Starting to sound like a curse now, isn't it?
Then the year after that, in other words, last year, The sister-in-law of the man who was the leader of the dam proponents, the one who accidentally died, was discovered dead, having been beaten to death. Of course, they caught that criminal.
See? Really seems like a curse, huh?
4 years in a row. Each one of the incidents and accidents were relatively commonplace, but every single one of them happening on the night of the festival worshipping Oyashiro-sama? That's not normal.
The old folks have been blindly accepting Oyashiro-sama's curse because of the incidents these past few years. Even younger people, too. At first they thought it was stupid, but now nobody makes fun of it.
Yeah, I can see where she's coming from. Even me. Even if I didn't think there was a curse at all, thinking about the incidents like this makes me feel like maybe it's real? For example, just look at the preparations for the festival you were doing today. Everything might have gone crazy during the battle against the dam, but just a few years ago, the Watanagashi festival was never this well attended.
Well, I guess you're right. If we didn't have Oyashiro-sama to talk about, we wouldn't all be coming to a festival like this, huh? There's a lot of people who say that infidels might be punished, so they really need to go to Oyashiro-sama's festival.
Shion nodded as if she were mocking herself. So how about now? Keiichi-kun, you're starting to get the feeling that maybe, just maybe, the curse is real, aren't you?
I mean, I can't just laugh off people related to the dam construction project all dying like that.
If even I feel this now, then the more superstitious members of the village must feel stronger than that.
Well, I mean,
I still don't think there's a curse. I can understand those that believe there is, though.
Wow, Ki-chan, you can really keep a cool head about this.
Shion grinned, realizing I'd rejected the curse.
If it's neither a curse nor a coincidence, then what should we make of these incidents?
Takano-san said, smiling playfully as if posing a riddle. Neither a curse nor a coincidence, but every year someone dies. What should we make of that, then? Tomitake-san, catching on to the fact that I had no idea what to make of it, opened his mouth and came to my aid. Takano-san is suggesting that it might be the work of real people. Eh? Simple process of elimination would have gotten me there. I was a little taken aback at not having realized the answer immediately.
Well, think about it. If it's neither a curse nor coincidence, then people must be willingly carrying it out. It's the only explanation, right?
Pressed Takano-san. I smiled bitterly in spite of myself. Here I was just a few minutes ago, thinking the very concept of a curse was absolutely absurd. When she suggested it was someone's doing, I ended up thinking there wasn't any way it could be a person. But Takano-san was right. It was either a curse or it was a person's doing. If unrealistic things like curses didn't exist, then the obvious next step would be to start thinking it was people behind it. But if that was the case, I glanced at Shion.
If the culprit is a person, then they'd have to be someone from Hinamizawa. That's what the police officer Oishi-san thinks right now, too.
Hey, wait. That can't be. I thought I now knew the reason Mion didn't want to talk about this. If Oyashiro-sama's curse really existed, then that's fine. It would be divine judgment for the dam project business. However, if Oyashiro-sama's curse didn't exist, which it obviously didn't, then the culprit would most likely be someone from Hinamizawa. The villagers had worked desperately to oppose the dam construction project. I knew they had used all sorts of methods to fight against it. If one of those methods was, maybe...
People whisper that Oyashiro-sama's curse could be the doing of a secret group in the dam resistance movement.
Shion dryly put words to my exact thoughts. Of course, I didn't expect it. She was from Hinamizawa, so I didn't think she'd come out and say it herself.
If you calm down and think about it, anyone would come to the same conclusion. There wouldn't be a motive for anyone but people who benefit from opposing the dam project, right?
I guess that's true. Admitting to the existence of a darker side of the dam conflict would be rude to Mion, who spoke of it so highly. So I couldn't just accept Shion's seemingly logical viewpoint.
One more thing. The police probably don't know this. There's proof that someone from Hinamizawa committed these crimes, and the people of Hinamizawa know it.
Eh? What? Shion rebukes me to keep my voice down.
Sorry, but this proof, what is it? It's the fact that one person dies and one person disappears.
One person disappears. Did that mean that someone besides the one who died from the curse was a sacrifice?
What do you mean by disappear? They just vanish and you never see them again? That's right. Suddenly and without a trace.
As she spoke, Shion pretended to do a trick with her hands, like she were making a magician's hat disappear. One dies a mysterious death, and one disappears, never to be seen again. A strange vanishing act. But then why? How does that equate to someone from Hinamizawa being the culprit?
Well, actually, Hinamizawa has this one really old legend. It's about how people offer sacrifices to Oyashiro-sama to calm his wrath.
Sacrifices?
Yes. They say they used to wrap a living person up in a bamboo mat and let them slowly sink down into a bottomless swamp.
Takano-san, though explaining something terrible, has a look of glee on her face as she did so.
As far as I can glean from the literature, it actually took 3 days and 3 nights for them to sink. See? Even people a long time ago liked symbolism. As the body sunk, Oyashiro-sama's anger would be quelled. Both were submerged into the deep.
Takano-san was the only one laughing at this. Was she telling a joke or something? Shion didn't move to deny it, but I felt a difference in temperature between her cool expression and Takano-san's.
This whole conversation, well, I think you can imagine after hearing it, but it's the secret history of Hinamizawa. Everyone who has been in Hinamizawa for a long time knows it, but they don't talk about it.
Takano-san's not from here, but she knows quite a lot. She really likes local history, folk legends, stuff like that. She learned about it all by herself, too.
I'm really not all that amazing. Just curious, that's all. Like a child. I just want to see scary things for the fun of it.
Tomitake-san laughed, a little bit embarrassed.
Wait a minute. What does that mean? The other person who disappears during the incidents.
You're saying they're offered as a sacrifice?
Yeah.
Shion answers in one word before anyone else can speak. Someone dies, and someone disappears. Well, whether they actually get sacrificed or not is a different issue. But every time something happened in the past, one person died and one other person disappeared. For example, the first one, where the dam site manager was killed. Apparently, one of the people responsible for that still hasn't been arrested.
Couldn't that just mean he managed to get away? I don't see why we should treat him as a sacrifice.
Well, that's basically what I think too. There was also the year after that, with the leader of the dam proponents.
You said he fell from a cliff and died while on vacation, right? Apparently, his wife fell as well. The police investigated fervently, but they were never able to find the wife's corpse. The river under the cliff was actually pretty high at the time, though. She could have just been buried under the sand at the bottom of the lake downstream or something.
The perpetrator of a dismemberment like that wouldn't want to be caught, so they'd be desperate to run away and hide, too. I thought I'd heard about cases where the corpse wouldn't surface after the person drowned in a swelled river like that. She vanished because of an unfortunate accident, but I didn't see the connection to sacrifices. If you took each of the past incidents in turn, none of the disappearances evoked that terrifying of an image. The year after that, with the priest suddenly falling ill and dying, is much clearer. His wife left a suicide note. They found it in their house the night the priest died. It said something along the lines of quelling Oyashiro-sama's wrath through her death. The curse. It seems to turn up in this one, though. Well, we may never know the truth of the matter. The swamp the wife drowned herself in was the giant, bottomless one Takano mentioned before. The police investigated it, but all they could find were several of her possessions. They never found the corpse. The police suspect it was a faked suicide, and they're still investigating it now. Someone dies every year, and in the same way, someone goes missing every year. Is she trying to tell me that everyone who vanished was kidnapped by some extremely efficient means and dumped into the bottomless swamp still alive and drowned to death? But a curse? That's unbelievable in its own right. And the next year, what was it? The dam proponent's sister-in-law? She was killed. So, at that time, someone else vanished? Someone did disappear. It was a boy around my age named Satoshi Hojo. He's the nephew by marriage of the woman killed. Shion cut in with a slightly strong tone of voice. She knew the boy who had disappeared pretty well. At least, that's the vibe I was getting. Well, that about sums everything up. One person always dies, and one person always suddenly disappears. Leaving the suddenness aside, the fact that each incident involved one person disappearing. So that means the first person who dies is because of Oyashiro-sama's curse, and the second person who vanishes is because the villagers sacrificed them? Is that it? Ki-chan, there is no curse. Somebody kills the first person under the guise of the curse, and someone takes away the second person to be a sacrifice. But Shion, that means the criminal is in the village. That's what I've been guessing from the start. It's pretty shocking though, you know? We live in the Showa period. It's kind of hard to believe people are committing murder like it's nothing, using some ancient justifications, huh? It didn't have anything to do with our discussion, but I got the feeling that maybe Shion didn't like Hinamizawa very much. Mion enjoyed talking about Hinamizawa and its epic tales, so she had avoided talking about Oyashiro-sama's curse, which didn't paint Hinamizawa in a good light no matter how you looked at it. She was trying not to give me a bad impression of the village, so she didn't say anything. Shion, on the other hand, was somehow different. She wasn't rejecting the concept of a curse to purge Hinamizawa of this bad impression, but rather because she strongly believed that a member of the village was the criminal behind this. Her conviction seemed a bit removed from the tight sense of community held by the people of Hinamizawa. Once upon a time, they looked so alike you could mistake one for the other. But talking to her now, I was getting a powerful feeling that Shion had a completely different personality than Mion. Then everyone else, they all think someone from Hinamizawa did it, right? Neither Shion nor Takano-san answered that. The deafening silence told me all that needed to be said. Then, let me ask another question. If someone from Hinamizawa is the culprit, then who is it? Neither Shion nor Takano-san had a reply to that question either. Though it may have been rude to ask, I had hoped they wouldn't have one. The reason I asked was to argue that their explanation that the culprit was from Hinamizawa was nothing more than one possibility. Shion caught on to my plan. She gave a pained smile at my petty spite and opened her mouth to speak. All I said really just amounts to circumstantial evidence anyway. If any of us knew who it really was, we'd have gotten them into police hands already. As would anybody. Then what about Takano-san? She too smiled dryly as Shion had and opened her own mouth.
Well, I'd like to clear one thing up. I'm not a detective or anything, alright? In all honesty, I'm not really interested in who the culprit is.
Takano-san, you sure are a handful. Tomitake-san gives a bitter laugh at her surprising opinion on the matter.
You see, I just like cruel and atrocious ancient traditions and fairy tales.
I only enjoy them from a curious onlooker's perspective.
So even for this string of incidents, it's not so much finding out who the culprit is, but enjoying thinking about how the traditions displayed by the incidents themselves still seem to have some pretty deep roots around here.
Though she described herself as nothing more than a curious onlooker, her smile was as sharp as the tip of a blade. Women like her felt very strange, and a little scary to me. Maybe it's just that I was in fearful awe of the person whose emotions I couldn't comprehend.
Well, I don't think any of this is interesting at all. The Watanagashi festival is coming up tomorrow, but I don't want anyone to die or disappear.
Tomorrow, huh? That's right. It had completely slipped my mind. The string of murder incidents people attributed to Oyashiro-sama's curse. It wasn't over. If last year's incident wasn't the end, then tomorrow night at the festival, would someone die and someone disappear?
I do wonder who will die tomorrow and who will disappear, though.
Takano-san said, running a comb through her hair with elegant movements, with a thin smile and a voice that nearly made me shudder. She almost looked like she was enjoying the thought of the incidents that could happen tomorrow. Then, out of the blue, we heard a loud round of applause. They seemed to be ending the drinking party early. Right, I was making Mion wait this whole time, wasn't I? I should go back to her soon. You're teasing the kid too much, Takano-san. Now Keiichi-kun thinks it's all true.
I apologize. It's that bad habit of mine again, said Takano-san, sticking out her tongue bashfully. The strangeness in her expression was nowhere to be found.
When Takano-san sees an innocent child like you, she can't help wanting to poke fun at them. It's a real bad habit. Keiichi-kun, you listened to everything so earnestly that she ended up getting carried away. Unlike Takano-san, Tomitake-san seemed like a totally normal person with common sense. They were apologizing after realizing what kind of impression they'd given me. The stuff Takano-san just said is all fiction. If it made you harbor any bad impressions about Hinamizawa, then we apologize for that.
Jeez, Jiro-san.
You apologize too, Takano-san. Tell him you're sorry for scaring him. Takano-san and Tomitake-san were arguing and messing around now. The strained air around us had already dissipated.
Ki-chan, you should get going soon too. Mion is the jealous type. If she sees me, she'll probably start a fight, so I'll just be going home.
Really? Then I'll go see what Mion's doing and apologize for making her wait, I guess. Sorry for being such a nuisance, Keiichi-kun. Could you tell Mion-chan that we're sorry for borrowing you for so long?
Ah, yes. I don't think telling her will make her feel any better, but sure.
Tomitake-san and Takano-san, standing next to each other, both began to chuckle.
Okay then, Ki-chan. Let's try and run into each other at tomorrow's festival.
We'll see each other. I mean, it's us we're talking about after all.
We'll be making so much trouble it'll be hard for you to not to find us.
Shion and I said our goodbyes to Tomitake-san and Takano-san. Before we could leave, Takano-san called out to us.
Thanks for listening so earnestly to what I had to say. You're just so good at listening. I had a great time talking to you.
Good at listening? No, not at all. I was just in a state of perpetual bewilderment from all the shocking topics being thrown at me one after another.
Did you like my story today?
Well, it was pretty interesting.
Then I'll tell you some more sometime, okay? There's a lot of pretty interesting legends and fairy tales about Hinamizawa. Of course, a lot of strange and creepy ones, too. I'll choose a bunch of my favorites and tell you about them.
I was kind of happy, but kind of worried. I can't help but smile dryly and scratch at my head. Keiichi-kun, you can go now. Takano-san is just messing with you. I say goodbye again and run off. I heard Tomitake-san call out behind him in a clear voice that we would see each other at the festival tomorrow. When I went to the tent Mion was waiting for me in, she was nowhere to be found. I made her wait so long. Maybe she got mad and went home. After asking some adults passing by, I heard that she went home, talking to some relatives. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But my regret for having made Mion wait wasn't enough to triumph over the impression Takano-san and Shion's uncanny story left on me. Serial murder incidents had happened 4 years in a row. Would tomorrow's events make this the 5th? And the possibility that someone from Hinamizawa was carrying this all out under the guise of the curse. The queer tradition of ritual sacrifice, entirely unbecoming of the Showa period we lived in. I regretted it a little, though it was too late. If none of those creepy stories had anything to do with me, then I should have let Mion pull me away from that crowd. I felt a little ashamed about letting my cheap curiosity get the better of me. Oh, is that finally it? Oh, well, it was fun rereading the story of the curse of Oyashiro-sama again. Wow, that's a lot of tips! Okay, here we go. Oyashiro-sama's curse. In the ancient Onigafuchi village, the anger of Oyashiro-sama, his curse, was feared above all. However, it is seldom stated anywhere what eventually happens and what sort of divine judgment befalls them when Oyashiro-sama is angry. From various reports, all hell will break loose. Demons will come flooding out. The miasma from hell will flood outward and kill every villager, letting not a single one escape. The ones evoking images of the village being annihilated stand out the most. These terrifying ideas of divine punishment are in alignment with many other religious beliefs regarding the apocalypse, and it's easy to imagine that they are just ways of convincing people to obey the teachings in order to prevent such an end. The conditions for inciting Oyashiro-sama's wrath are likely the same as the taboos in Onigafuchi village. I believe that when an act was performed that violates one of these taboos, Oyashiro-sama was termed angry, and in order to quell his anger, they would perform the aforementioned sacrificial ritual. Ooh. They're nice and short. That's good. That is really good. The human sacrifice ritual. The sacrifice ritual was a simple drowning, involving plunging sacrifices into Onigafuji swamp, which was considered hallowed. Of the rituals of Onigafuchi village, this one was unique in that the sacrifice would sink slowly over the long course of 3 days and 3 nights. I believe that it wasn't so much the killing of this sacrifice that was important, but rather the symbolism of them sinking as the submerging of Oyashiro-sama's anger. Ah, my God. For that purpose, they must have had a passion for learning various methods for keeping the sacrifice from sinking too quickly, to force them to sink more slowly. Unfortunately, as far as I can tell from the records, those methods were not recorded. My thoughts are that they may have used logs or some similar material to create a raft, then set up a scaffold on there, hung the sacrifice up with the ropes, and let them sink little by little over time into the swamp. However, if that were the case, It would not be strange if the ritual implements used for such a ceremony were honored as holy and enshrined somewhere.
Ooh, spicy.
Implements used for the ritual. Ritual tools utilized for ancient religious ceremonies are commonly referred to as implements or ritual implements, and even now some of them are enshrined on the property of Furude Shrine and the three families. However, the identifiable tools are all decorative, and none appear to have been used in rituals governing the dark side of Onigafuchi village. As the Edo era came to a close and many traditional rituals were lost, were they lost as well? Or perhaps buried in the darkness? I don't believe so. Both the implements used on the night of the Feast of Onikakushi and those used during the sacrificial ceremony must still exist, enshrined away from the eyes of the masses. Without a doubt, they exist here today, at this very moment, in Hinamizawa. Also, I'm fairly certain where they've been enshrined. What was once locked steadfastly has, for some reason, changed this year to a cheap-looking padlock. He may be able to do something about such a lock. However, it is not far from the assembly hall, nor is he ever far from the presence of people. However, I will not give up. The night when it becomes a blind spot to every villager in Hinamizawa is coming soon. Soon it will be Watanagashi.
I don't know who's writing these notebooks.
Rabble, rabble, rabble.
Hey, are you worn out already? Tomorrow's the real thing. We're gonna be partying until morning, until the very end of it all. Got it?
Got it. I'll give it everything I've got. All right then. Youth is the greatest. Good work, everyone. Tomorrow's Watanagashi at last. Let's get some shut-eye in and save our energy for tomorrow night. Tomorrow is finally Watanagashi. Festivals are split into two groups, those who enjoy them and those who support them. The former only need prepare their minds, but the latter needs not only that, but also painstakingly crafted plans and preliminary arrangements. While the general majority attending goes about enjoying the festival without a care in the world, we'll be strained the whole way through. Why?
You sure as hell know why. Because the beer after everything's over is the best damn beer you'll ever have.
At times like these, it's best to have energetic, physically fit people. It wouldn't be worth it if you didn't do your best until the end, enjoying it the whole way.
Oh, he's here.
Uishi-san came in. Everyone hurried to stand up.
Hello, everyone. Excellent work out there. You can be at ease.
Thank you, sir. Not even my seniors, who usually talk big about themselves, can hold a candle to Uishi-san. We all bow as if we were one of those cheering squads of old. Kuraudo Uishi, a detective just waiting to retire. One who doesn't pay much mind to rules and regulations, and doesn't do too much in the way of real work. He looks like a rotten old man with a penchant for dirty jokes. My seniors, though, tell me he was a real fighter in his younger days, and that he may or may not have quite a heroic legend trailing behind him. Anyway, he surely had much more dignity and presence in the room than the section chief who came in with him.
Everyone, I really thank you for your hard work on the preparations for the festival tomorrow. Everyone present stands upright and lends their ear to the chief's directions. We're on heavy alert for any thrill-seeking criminals expecting another incident like last year. I need all of you to focus your energy as much as possible in your mission to prevent any crimes from happening.
Yes, sir.
Of course, it would be best if nothing happened. However, everyone, please assume that an incident will in fact occur. Prevention is number one, but it probably won't be enough. This year, too, someone will die and someone will disappear. There's really no doubt about it.
Everyone apart from the section chief smiled painfully. Uishi-san, that won't do. We need to be more serious about this.
The important part isn't to get past the night of the festival. It's to be able to quickly, swiftly, and aggressively pursue whatever does happen tomorrow night. I won't tolerate anything less than your best. Clench those cheeks. We're gonna rip all the skin off the ghost of Oyashiro-sama's curse. Yeah!
Good pep talk, Uishi-san. All right. Nothing else? Nothing new cropping up? Okay. Then with that, I am going to call it a day there. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you did, please consider giving me a follow. Every single follow helps, and I appreciate every single one. And for those of you watching on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video. Leave a comment down below. Do you believe in Oyashiro-sama's curse, or is it all the work of man? I don't actually know the answer, but I've got a pretty good idea, because I've seen more than this from watching the anime and whatnot. But let me know your guesses down below. Also, you can find my followables down in the doobly-doo. You'll find my Twitch, where I stream every day at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And my Twitter, which I don't use because I'm bad at using Twitter, and nobody would be listening to me anyway. But if people started following, I might try. So consider following me on Twitter as well. But I think that is all of the shilling I have to do. For those of you on Twitch, I will be back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And for those of you on YouTube, my next video will be uploaded tomorrow at noon. So, yeah, I'll see you all at your determined times, depending how you're watching this. And until then, I will catch you all next time. Ciao for now.